Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up in just a moment, joining me in studio in our Travel Treasures segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, we're featuring celebrity chef Andrew Molen. As the son of a successful New York restaurant owner, Andrew developed a passion for the hospitality industry at a very early age. And while working for his family's restaurant, Samalita, it all began from there. Poised to carve out his own niche in New York's competitive marketplace, he transitioned out of the family business and has made a significant impact in leadership roles for some of the finest restaurants in New York, including in Siemi, inside the Michelangelo Hotel, Chez Josephine, Southgate Restaurant in the Jumeirah Essex House, the Plaza Food Hall, which in the Plaza Hotel existed once upon a time, but these are very notable properties. Restaurant Gordon Ramsay in the London Hotel, Topping Rose House, Jean-Georges, and Todd English's Enterprises. Now, I literally know every one of those places. He currently operates out of Boston and New York with 5 Ludlow, Vermont locations and 1 in Windham, New York. He's recently partnered up with Isola on Shelter Island in the Hamptons. But for now, let's head up north, the 87. Now, could upstate New York's food scene finally be getting the credit it deserves? Well, Bloomberg Magazine recently published a list of restaurants in upstate New York worth the drive from New York City. Now, skyrocketing real estate prices of the ritzy Hamptons have not only pushed hungry travelers elsewhere, but also renowned chefs, trading congested cities for charming small towns and bucolic backgrounds. Chefs headed to the hills for beautifully restored spaces and easier access to fresh ingredients in the heart of farm country. Today, Andrew joins me right here at iHeart headquarters in-house to chat from Hamptons to Vermont, celebrity restaurants and VIP scenes you ought to be checking out, either on a day trip or even over a weekend. Welcoming now to the show is the amazing Andrew Molen. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. So
it only took me planes, trains, and automobiles to get here, but I'm here.
I love it that you've joined us in-house. So let's chat Vermont. So Vermont has long been recognized as a hub for locally sourced fresh ingredients that make their way from farm to plate in a matter of hours, if not minutes. Green Mountain State is where the farm-to-table movement is more than just a trend. It's a way of life. Should people be eating farm to table, in your opinion? Where should people be eating in Vermont? And talk to me about the importance of using natural and fresh ingredients.
Oh my goodness, the food scene in Vermont is unbelievable. You have some great local produce, and you have great meat purveyors like Vermont Wagyu, which is unbelievable. You have Vermont fresh pasta. The list just goes on. There's so much great things out of that state. And not only just is it known for skiing and for the summer activities, but the food scene is incredible. And if you're hungry, it's definitely a fun place to go to.
And what are your top favorite restaurants there?
Listen, you know what? I'm in a small town called Ludlow, Vermont, and there's so many great places around there. And just to go an hour up to like Manchester or even to Rutland or even down to Springfield or even across to Burlington, there's so many great places to go. The list could just go on. So I don't want to just say a couple people out there because there's so many great chefs and restaurateurs that deserve so much recognition.
Absolutely. It's definitely a hub for great fresh produce. Now, upstate New York, interestingly enough, is home to the best city food festival in the U.S. In fact, USA Today's Favorite City Food Festival contest put 20 cities and their foodie events together in competition, and readers voted, and the number one city festival worth traveling for was awarded to Taste of Buffalo.
Oh,
so
wow.
Visitors will find regional specialties at this Buffalo Food Fest in spades, from beef on weck to sponge candy, buffalo wings, and New York State wines. And a bonus to the delicious bounty, the actual annual event also raises scholarship money for college-bound students who are committed to studying hospitality and culinary arts. In its history, the event probably has raised and awarded more than $575,000 in scholarships to high school seniors. So I definitely love to shout them out. Now, Andrew, with so much history throughout the entire state of Massachusetts, we all know that some establishments throughout the Bay State date back at least a few centuries. You have many historic restaurants still holding up today. And according to Best Things Massachusetts, the Stagecoach Tavern at Race Brook Lodge has stood the test of time since it was built, and it was named among the best historic restaurants in the Bay State. What are your Boston favorites?
Oh, listen, I live in Charlestown, so I'm always at a great old staple, which is the Warren Tavern. They still have some great food. But there's so many great places in Boston. You know, Like also what Boston is great for is their seafood, and there's so many great seafood places. There's a group that's really coming together and opening a lot of places, and like there's Lincoln, you have Monument. That group is really started to open up new places. But there's a lot of great staples. Ken Oranger is one of my favorite chefs who has Little Donkey. I go there all the time. Uni is probably one of my favorites. Is Japanese food, and I have to say, I shout out Ken Oranger. I think he's one of the best chefs in Boston.
I love it. Well, there's some great tips from you. You're a local there, and
Oh,
you pretty much know the city
oh,
inside
absolutely. I can't get enough of that uni spoon. Oh, the caviar, the uni, a little bit of yuzu. Oh, you just can't go wrong.
Well, coming from a chef, we're definitely gonna have to check it out. Now, okay, let's chat Hamptons because you're a big figure there. So eating in the Hamptons is all about how you do it. I mean, you can find yourself in mediocre, overpriced restaurants that you'll regret stepping foot into, or you can discover the best of the best by doing some research. And the Hamptons has it all. Taco stands. I know you love taco stands.
Tacos
Clam
and tequila.
shacks. They have sit-down restaurants that, while admittedly pricey, actually serve great food in nice environments. You just have to make reservations wherever you can to avoid the peak season. So what are your top spots?
Actually, I just ate one the other night, and Julia Medina has done a great job with El Verano in Southampton. It's a new restaurant just opened a couple weeks ago, and I had the pleasure of going there, and the food was phenomenal. He had a bronzino that was butterflied, and it was just so delicious with the verde on it. And then you can't go wrong with the other Mexican staples he has there. But I also want to, like, if you want a scene, you go up to Crow's Nest. I ate there the other day. You can go down the beach. You have a beautiful view. Watch the sunset. Have a couple drinks. Go up and have a great meal. The seafood list and purveyor lists out there of different restaurants and different places to eat is phenomenal. You did hit it on the head, though. A lot of places are pricey. So you do have to navigate correctly if you are living by a budget, which most of us are right now.
Yeah, I mean, who's with crazy prices, inflation so high, and it's a couple $100 to go out and have a nice meal and enjoy it, especially if you're going to be drinking. And regarding the Hamptons, I always tell people if you've procrastinated picking a spot or simply in a rush, there's a handful of specialty shops, right, including Loaves and Fishes, Hen of the Woods, Villa Italian Specialties, and even Cinderella. Although none of them are that cheap because you're going to still go do groceries and come out spending
Absolutely.
$150, but they do offer excellent grab and go meals and snacks. So it's definitely an alternative, right? You're a big fan of picnics.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of picnics, but even like going to like the other day, I'm always cooking in my restaurants. I finally decided to take a day off. I went to the beach. I see this person has this little barbecue on the beach and this little table, and I was looking at it, and there's a great new feature on Amazon where you can actually scan something and find it on there. So I was kind of zooming in and scanning. So I ordered myself this little table, this little grill. I said, let me go to the beach and have some fun. I went and get some groceries. I never really take a day off. I didn't get out of there for less than $200 for two people to go eat. So again, being in a kitchen, I'm used to wholesale, but even the food costs in the kitchen are so high now. But just going to the supermarket, it's astronomical where it's going. But with that said, it's always fun to go and do a little something on the beach.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Now let's chat your career. So
Okay.
who inspired you to pursue the culinary arts, and how did you end up surrounded by all these celebrities, ultimately becoming a celebrity chef yourself, so to speak?
So I'm very fortunate. I have a very strong mother who's been in this industry for a very long time. Most parents take their kids home from the hospital. She took me straight to our bar lounge. My school bus picked me up, dropped me off there. So I was exposed to a culinary scene very young. And as my mother being a restaurateur, there wasn't really a place for me to sit. I couldn't go sit at the bar. I couldn't go really sit at a table because it was a lounge. It was at the restaurant. So I'd hang out in the kitchen. And at a young age, I started washing dishes. I started prepping. I started asking a lot of questions. And then I had a stepfather who was very involved in Le Cirque. So I was able to pick up a lot of things off of him. And I got a great story. I remember asking Cyril Macchioni of Le Cirque one day. I said, you bring all these great culinary minds in, these great maitre d's, these great waiters and support staff and all. How do you know who's good and who's not? He goes, I ask them to smile. If they don't have teeth, they're in the back. If they have teeth, they're in the front. I was like, okay, that's brilliant, but how does that work out?
Wow.
So,
That's some fun stuff. Now, talk to me. What's the best part of your job?
so I love being in the back of house, but I also like being in the front of house. I love coming out and seeing how people are enjoying the food. I love the response back. I love the comments. A lot of people don't like criticism. I love constructive criticism. Thank goodness I don't get a lot of it. I'm very lucky in that point because people do like to say how they feel, as I do. Um, but it's nice to really see someone enjoying a meal, breaking bread with a friend. You know, we all just came out of a long time and not being able to be social. Now we're able to be social, and we're really seeing people coming together and eating and enjoying what we've always known to have, sitting at a dinner table, whether it was at home or in a restaurant. So it's nice to have people coming together once again and breaking bread and to see that joy in people's eyes again.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, what's the hardest part of being a restaurant owner?
You know, with labor costs, food costs, rents, you know, it all plays a factor. And I really don't like having to bring it off onto the consumer to increase the pricing. But I have to. And now, in the beginning, people were really like upset that food pricing on the menu was going up. But they would literally be verbal about it. Like, have you been to the supermarket lately? Have you seen a difference? An apple used to be 50 cents. Now it's $1. You know, it's not just the supermarkets are getting the same thing as we are. So it's really playing a factor in hitting everyone's pocket. But it's about navigating and building a menu that you're able to meet the masses and understand the financial part of it all.
Yeah, it's very, very stressful out there, not just for the consumer, but to your point, you know, as an entrepreneur, you're factoring in every cost, your labor costs, the price of your produce, the price
Right.
of the services that you're using, and it's just a ripple effect. It's a domino effect.
My,
When inflation hits, it hits every aspect of everyone's life.
Absolutely. For a great example, food costs in one of my restaurants was between 25 and 28, which was industry norm. Now you're looking between 30 and 35.
Wow.
And then you look at the cost of labor. It's gone up. You look at the rents. You look at the electric bills. You get it. You every day open up your bills and you see your credit card statement. You see your water bill. You see your electric bill. It's not just the residential. It's the commercial. And we have to put us all into play to keep the lights on and keep people working. And it's a challenge.
Yep. Definitely a challenge. Well, you, my darling, have proven to be quite successful. What is the secret?
What is success?
What is the secret? Well, you're successful. What is the secret to your success?
Oh, that was a good movie back in the day. My secret to success is, you know, you treat people the way you want to be treated. You work with the guests. You work with your colleagues. You work with the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights. Just treat people the way you want to be treated. And, you know, it's at the end of the day, make sure everyone gets paid before you do. And if they're making money, you're making money. If they're not making money, you're definitely not making money.
Yeah, true. Well, Andrew, this was a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on and talk to me. What are your current projects? Tell me about your current projects. Is there anything that you're opening up noteworthy?
So I'm so glad to be back on. I'm really looking at really opening something again in Boston. As everyone knows, it's been a tragic scene up in Ludlow, Vermont. I lost 2 restaurants. One will have to be torn down. The other one is structurally being redesigned. So my things, what I really am looking at is to really get one of the restaurants back open up in Ludlow. And I really want to focus in on like secondary, thirdary markets where I purchased the piece of property, so I'm not paying these high rents, and I'm able to make a profit and pay my staff more and have a better experience. So I like the mountain towns. I really like the big cities. Those rents are just way too much. But I do want to have a restaurant back in Boston.
Beautiful. Well, God willing, with a lot of hard work and perseverance, you will get there. I have no doubt. You've done
crossed.
it once. You're going to do it again.
Listen, when there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on, Andrew. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. That was our Travel Treasure segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut. That was celebrity chef Andrew Molen. Definitely check him out on andrewmolen.com, or you can check him out on IG and Twitter at Andrew Molen, Molen. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.